In the last week, since we have been pulled out of Europe effectively as a result of the vote on Brexit, I have been inundated, as of my offices in Munster with questions about what this means for West Tyrone. Well, in order to articulate what this means for West Tyrone, we first of all need to take stock of how we've benefited, because it's not always entirely appreciated how we have benefited from Europe. I know the clear benefits from Europe, many people do, but equally there's people that have questions and have had questions in the run-up and beyond this referendum. It's important to point out at this stage that this referendum has been based on a lot of lies from the Leave camp. Unbelievable untruth has been told, which has tricked the electorate effectively into leaving Europe, in our view. The SDLP will stand firm and will continue to fight and ensure that we, as Northern Irish people, have our voices heard in relation to this huge mess. Today we're seeing Nigel Farage resign as UKIP leader. A welcome statement, but clear that he's running away, as has Boris Johnson and a number of other Leave leaders. But today this is about West Tyrone, this is about me answering your questions, and people are asking how we've benefited in the last few years from Europe. I submitted, since we left Europe last week, a number of questions to ministers and departments asking how we've benefited and what the financial terms were in the last 5 to 6 years. I did get the answers and I provided them to the Ulster Herald, who did print them but didn't cite any quotations from me in it, unfortunately, so I am now going to share with you directly these figures. £300 million at least is the figure overall as to what West Tyrone has benefited, and that's in a number of capacities. For instance, the Department of Agriculture distributed £259 million in EU funding from April 2009 to March 2015, and this comes in the form of single farm payments, which is the largest share of that at £221 million over a 6-year period, which equates really to £37 million per year. That's a significant investment in West Tyrone in itself. That is not the whole of Northern Ireland, that's West Tyrone in itself. And we go on, we're a rural constituency that has huge needs in terms of unemployment, social deprivation and isolation, rural isolation, very real issues with infrastructure. And in that, Europe has helped between 2009 to 2014 provide some £36.8 million paid out under the Rural Development Programme. The bulk of that has been provided for landscapes, forests, woodlands, preservation generally. And also, we're a county that has huge interest and a huge love for our Gaelic, or GAA. And like more recently, Girvahi, for instance, has received £850,000 in European funding. You know, the figures are stark, and it continues. But the bigger question in all this is who is going to replace this money now? And that's the questions that are coming to me, the uncertainty, the anger, the frustration that exists, and the lack of answers that are coming back from both the First Minister, who, should I say, advocated for a Leave vote but can't justify exactly why or how it'll benefit this place. But we need to now start asking these questions, because this is real life, and our society, our communities here from all walks of life, all religions, all political backgrounds are going to be affected directly as a consequence of this reckless decision. £824,000 was provided to landmark Loch McCrossan Community Project, which opened up the Loch area to the community. So Loch McCrossan directly benefited from almost £1 million of European funding. Scores of projects of all sizes are dotted across the whole of West Tyrone, and that comes in the form of various sports facilities, 3G pitches for instance, and more recently Greencastle benefited from such, where it received significant EU funding. Many people will be surprised that the Department of Health has indirectly availed of EU money to support a range of services such as the Tyrone County Hospital. So we're now saying that this is something that has affected every single department, every single aspect and area of life, and people don't imagine that EU funding could support health, but it actually did and has done to a large extent. The South West College in Omagh has been approved for £6.3 million, £6.5 million in funding from the EU Interreg IVA programme, with around £3 million already paid out, so they're already halfway there with that. And there's huge questions about what happens to the remainder of that, whether it will continue to be provided and supported. And in the absence of EU funding, would the Assembly, would Westminster or the British Treasury provided that money? No, they would not. It's simply non-existent. Businesses have also benefited significantly. From 2007 to 2013, 394 County Tyrone based businesses were granted funding under the European Sustainable Programme. Again, a significant benefit to people at local level. The payments range from minor awards of £1,000 right up to £3.57 million, which is paid to the Tyrone Energy Limited Biomass Power Station in Ardee, which is near Strabane. A significant investment at a local level in renewable energies, and that's something that Europe has been key in doing, and something that needs to continue. And I would ask the First Minister and others that have advocated a Leave campaign how they intend to fill that funding gap that has benefited directly not only the hometown that I'm from, but on a wider scale, West Tyrone and the entirety of Northern Ireland. Peace monies and Interreg programmes have also provided funding for dozens upon dozens of community groups of all descriptions, of all walks of life, of all intentions. And those people, those community groups have been fundamental in supporting and sustaining peace here and ensuring that our society moves forward together in a cohesive and peaceful way, but also focused on how do we improve the lives of our communities? How do we bring in the people? And the bigger question is how we continue improving the lives of our communities when these community groups have been so important in ensuring that that work continues. And there's a lot of worry out there, there's a lot of worry at a very grassroots level within the communities in the various streets and the various areas from one end of West Tyrone to the other, and equally in every other constituency. But I'm speaking for my constituency, for my constituents, and for the welfare of the people that I represent. In terms of jobs, European funding itself created 10 jobs in Omagh based at the Special EU Programmes Body, the SEUPB, offices on the Kevlin Road, and fears over Brexit's potential impact on Tyrone's EU funding was somewhat allayed in the short term by the SEUPB this week, following a meeting with the Finance Minister Martin O'Neill. So there's a lot of uncertainty in that regard when it comes to those jobs that have been created and jobs that have had direct benefits to our constituency. In relation to the peace monies and the Interreg, people are asking, what has been the benefits? But look at Omagh. Following the Omagh bomb, peace monies has been fundamental in ensuring that we restored that town following a very, very, very dark and difficult time. And it continues to benefit Omagh when you look at more recent projects based in the town centre. So a snapshot of what this basically means for West Tyrone. And I'll cover some of the tracks. 221 million paid to West Tyrone farmers in single farm payments from 2009 to 2015. 36.8 million spent in West Tyrone on the Rural Development Programme. Peace 3 programme funds provided to 110 groups in County Tyrone since 2008, and we're working on the Peace 4. 6.95 million to Dungannon and South Tyrone Council for peace and reconciliation projects. So again, peace. This is about Peace 3. This is about the continuation of the peace project. And we have huge concerns in that regard as well, because we're still on a journey. We're not at any destination of peace. We have to continue sustaining the programme we're on. 4.83 million for the Oasis Riverside project in Omagh Town Centre. Again, that was what I discussed earlier. It's based in the heart of Omagh, and it's a fantastic local shared space for people to benefit from. 6.3 million approved for various South West College projects. Again, as I said, 3 million has already been spent. And funding from the European Sustainable Programme to 394 County Tyrone businesses from 2007 to 2013. Businesses are struggling today. This has left a lot of uncertainty in the markets and generally in people that were looking to start up in business. And finally, 1.1 million in offers to West Tyrone projects under investment for Growth and Jobs Programme, which started from the 1st of January 2014 to September 2015. So there's an example. £300 million in West Tyrone in itself. A significant investment from Europe in this place, this constituency of ours. There's huge concerns about the border. Strabane is a border town, West Tyrone is a border constituency to Donegal, and there's big questions about the return of checkpoints. We need to ensure that doesn't happen. The SDLP will work tirelessly to ensure that doesn't happen, and we'll work with the Irish governments and those in Brussels to ensure that there is an understanding that we cannot return to those days. The consequences of Europe is not good. The consequences of leaving Europe, is not good. We need to find a way of ensuring that these gaps are filled. But most importantly, if there is a way back from this, we most importantly want to see it. It doesn't seem clear at this stage. But the bigger question is, when this money disappears in 2 years' time, which it will the British Prime Minister or the British Exchequer replace these funds? No. Will Stormont replace these funds? No. Remember, West Tyrone has been starved from investment in any form of meaningful investment or job creation, even from the Assembly or further afield. Europe was a helping hand at the most difficult of times, and it helped create infrastructure, it helped create jobs, it helped create a more peaceful, inclusive society through community groups and the work that happens there. The SDLP will be having public meetings across the whole of Northern Ireland, including West Tyrone, in Strabane in the next few weeks, and we will do all we can to answer the questions. But that, I hope, provides some clarity. £300 million has come into West Tyrone, and the loss of that will not be good.